go.
Hey,
Okay, please introduce us to yourself.
hey Ashley, how you doing? How are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing great. I'm
All right, please.
introducing myself.
Okay. All right, let us know who you are. What do you do?
Hey everyone, hey everyone. I'm Kyle Maxwell. I'm an entrepreneur, CEO of Hard Music Entertainment, small record label. Where are you at actually? Just so I have some context of who I'm talking to.
I'm in Florida.
In Florida. Oh, cool. So I'm over on the DMV, guys, and I have a little record label, Hard Music Entertainment. It's a small thing. It's not too huge. We're not like Def Jam or anything. Basically, I work with artists. I help them build their brands. I do stuff. I'm music producer. Also, I started an agency last year, a social media agency, Vivo Media Group, and I help small businesses grow their brands, make content, stuff like that. I post videos on Instagram. Maybe I probably come off like a motivational speaker to a lot of people, probably. I make content and I cuss a lot. Um, yeah, that's it.
So what got you started with the record label and with the Vivo Media?
It's a great question. Uh, you got some popcorn?
I don't have any popcorn now.
That sucks. You're gonna want it. Um, the label story is remarkable. Sometimes in life, we have those revelations, and like everything changes. It's weird, and it's things that we don't really prepare for. It's a shift that just fucking everything just moves. And that was one of those days. Keep on, what's good? It was one of those days, and just to give you some context, when people always say, they like my content, they like this, like that, and they, all the compliments, I love them, but I like to tell each individual person, like just 4 or 5 years ago, I was a nutcase, like I was like fucking stupid, like just 5 years ago, 4 years ago, actually 3 years ago, I was a fucking idiot, and it wasn't until I went through all these little transformations that I'm slowly starting to become like this person that I guess people are starting to admire. But just to give you context, this was in 2017. Yeah, I was like crazy. I was like stupid, like dumb. I dropped out of college because that stuff is just not for me. And life is in the shithole. Like I'm hanging around terrible people. I'm doing terrible. I'm not doing terrible things, but I was doing some bad things. I was, stealing a lot. I was hanging out with, these people said that they were in a gang, but I don't believe them. But it's just terrible to even associate myself with that. Doing bad things. I remember my friend, like he came over to my house one morning, and we had a list. Like this is the thing. I want to make this very clear. When you're like smart, but you consciously make like terrible decisions. That's like the
Yeah,
worst. That's the worst combination.
yeah,
And out that's who I was, and that's why I slowly grow out of that because I used my salesmanship, I used my skills, I use all these skills that I'm manifesting now in a total positive way, but I use them in every terrible way possible, like by manipulating women, by like stealing, by doing terrible things. Like I use all my talents in a terrible wrong way, and I regret doing that. But that never happened. Maybe my life would never turn out this way. But anyway, my friend came over to my house. We had a list. Like I had a list of places we were going to go like steal from. Like that's how like organized this was. I was terrible. And one day it was like 12 o'clock. You guys have 7-Eleven in Florida.
yeah.
That's crazy. I did not know that. Yeah, we were outside of 7-Eleven. It was at 12 o'clock in the morning, and it was me and my worthless friend, and we were just sitting there, just doing nothing, and we were just doing I can't even fathom it anymore. Like we were just hanging out. I guess I don't know. I like when I always think about it, I'm like, because my mind is so sharp now. It's like, okay, what are we doing now? What am I doing in this moment? And we were just sitting there at 12 o'clock in the morning, like outside of a corner store. Like who does that? Like I don't know what the hell we were doing. Maybe we were trying
Yeah.
to find some chicks. Maybe we were trying to I don't know do something. I don't know what the hell we were doing. But I seen some dude like he was around like 40 or 50 years old. For the people joining him, I'm explaining my terrible upbringing. Hey, Pavon, I always forget how to pronounce her name. It's very difficult, but I know who that is. She was this way. We seen like a 40 or 50-year-old, like middle-aged dude standing outside the store. He was like smoking a cigarette or something. And and me and my friend were in the car, and we were kind of clowning on him. We were like, "Oh, this guy's such a loser." Like
Yeah.
me and him, like us sitting there doing nothing with our lives, but yet both of us had the audacity to make fun of someone else for doing the same exact thing. Very odd, very weird. Not a whole lot of self-awareness going on there. And it just clicked to me then when we were both laughing at him, but yet that grown man was doing the same exact thing we were doing. And it was that moment everything fucking clicked. Like I seen what I was gonna be like because he was not doing anything different than what me and my friend were doing. And everything clicked. So many things clicked in that part. I realized that I was the leader. Like people were following me. People were following my lead.
Yeah.
And my friend next to me, he's only doing this because I'm doing it. He looks at me and then he makes an action. And I'm the one that's steering this whole entire thing. And all this began to click. I was like, this is not right. Because if I keep doing the same thing I'm doing, we're both gonna end up like this 40-year-old dude, like smoking a cigarette outside of 7-Eleven when he ought to be home doing something productive with his life. We were gonna end up like that. So that's when everything clicked. I stopped hanging out with those people. I stopped doing a lot of things. I had a girl at the time, and we split up. Like everything was terrible. So I got back with her. Me and my brother weren't on good terms. So me and my brother kind of got that. And I was at a point, I was like 18, 19 years old. Everything kind of started to glue us up back together. So when my life was slightly less miserable at that time, I remember back in college, the big man on campus, he had a record label. I put that in quotation marks. He had a record label, and I was like, damn, you know what? I just got a new bunch of new friends. I'm getting my life back together. Fuck it. Maybe I'll try to do what that guy did. And that's when I started Heart of Music Entertainment because I always been in music. Like since I was in high school, I was in marching band for all 4 years. I was the best one in there, as you can imagine. I've been producing for a long time. I've always been in music, and at that time it just felt right because I kind of envied that dude that had the record label because I always felt that I could do it better. So that's why I started it. And I started very small. I had like one artist in the beginning. I didn't have anybody, but I continued to, put out content, tell the world what I was doing. I continued to stay consistent with it. And now, I have an A&R in Norfolk, Virginia. That's my guy, William Bryant. You guys will follow him. I'll put his thing down there. Two A&Rs in Baltimore, Maryland, Aisha and Tanisha Jackson. Those are like my other two mothers. They're like, people are way older than me. Those are my other two A&Rs out in Baltimore. Work with Moo Jack. That's an artist where I'm from. G Slicka. These people are not like Lil Baby yet, but they will be. And really really small group, and we just kept going, and getting better in every single year. We're really not trying to consistency. And it was good. You started walking on purpose, yeah. And the whole point of that, I really want to make this point because it's not just to me just aggrandize myself. I'm really trying to make the point in when you have these skill sets, when you were born with those skills, it's just like look at Martin Luther King and then look at Hitler. Two people have the very similar skill sets. Two people have very similar, wills to create cultural change, cultural shifts. One person used it terribly evil, enslaved people, well, we don't need to talk about what Hitler did. We already know what he did. Manipulated people, appeased people, just fiat, everything. It's terrible, a terrible thing you can imagine. And the other person used it to unite people. Martin Luther King used it to bring people together to speak truth and to see unity and to fight for people for their humane rights. Both people have the same skill sets. They have the same exact skill sets. And if you ask me, and if you really read up on history, Adolf Hitler was kind of better at the showmanship and kind of better at
he was very charismatic.
Yeah, he had to be to control the fucking world. Like he had the whole entire he had the whole world from like 1939 to 1945. This motherfucker had the whole world. So, but both people had the same skill sets, but it's just about how you use them, and you can decide if you want to use it for good or if you want it for bad. And it was that day when all that stuff started to click, and I realized, you know what, I want to use these talents. I want to use my God-given gifts, and I want to do something. I want to try to do something good with it.
Why do you think it's fun to hate Candace Owens?
That was a great segue.
Sorry.
Um,
Sorry.
why is it fun to hate Candace Owens?
Yeah.
I think Candace Owens I think she represents that little voice in everyone's head that wants to vocalize how they really feel, but don't have the courage to. And I think that sometimes we're kind of pessimistic towards those really underpinnings of ourselves that we want to admit, and that we want to. She represents everything that's wrong with people of color, the real things that are wrong, like that. Actually, that's in my personal opinion. That's what I think it is. Because everyone labels her a coon.
Hmm.
They label people like her. Oh, she hates black people when she wrote an entire book to try to uplift us. That really nothing says hate black people like writing a book for them. And people really like to they don't like looking at those things. They don't like looking in the mirror. That's just human nature. We don't like looking in the mirror and seeing what's actually wrong with us. We are more likely to want to put up facades and want to put up other things. Hey, like, we don't want to be accountable. It's them that are making us fucked up, or it's them that's causing us all this anguish. People don't like looking in the mirror, and I think Candace Owens is a prime example of what it feels like to look in the mirror and look at all your faults and having to do something
Yeah.
about it. So it's not Candace Owens necessarily that they hate. They hate self accountability, and they don't like those specific people that hate her. They don't like responsibility or looking at their actual flaws.
Wow. How has Jordan Peterson helped your life?
She is definitely a rat. You have a you have your opinion, man. I suggest you look into her more. Sorry, what was that?
How has Jordan Peterson helped your life?
Oh wow, this for anyone that doesn't know Jordan Peterson, like I'm a huge Gary Vee fan, and lately I've been watching less of him because if you watch about 10 or 15 videos, this guy kind of says the same shit, and they're
Yeah.
really yeah,
Same here.
it's the same
Yeah.
thing.
Like if you don't get the point by the 10th time, then like you're not gonna go
Yeah,
anywhere.
yeah. But I watch a lot. I watch a lot of his content for business purposes because he says certain things, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? Then I go Google it, and I'm kind of being a sponge. Like I'm a sponge. I'm trying to absorb as much as I can from other
Yeah.
people, and that's a good tactic to use. It's not using people, but it's just being a sponge and being open to. Because that's how I learn. I learn by watching you. I want to watch what Ashley does. I want to watch what Ashley says. I want to watch how she moves, how she interacts with people, how she responds to someone when Ashley's really, really busy and she's still nice. Like I look at all of those things and I try to emulate that because those people are obviously successful and I want to adopt some of those things. But Jordan Peterson, oh my gosh, he's like the educated, well articulated version of Gary Vee. Like Jordan Peterson is what Gary Vee would have been if Gary Vee was like a scholar in like school.
Oh,
And this guy is really like he's really well diverse. And the only reason why I looked into him is because it was around May, I think it was May or June when all this Black Lives Matter thing started. And at first, I'll admit I was on board with it because I was ignorant. And those people are they're very wise and they're very charismatic. Hence the two people that I used in the beginning of this. They're very they can draw people in really good, especially people that are ignorant, historically ignorant. And I started seeing different things, and I started seeing people walking up to people in restaurants and like screaming at them saying, "Hey, you better repeat these words." And I was like, okay, this is weird. And I started to look back. I'm like, what is going on? I'm always trying to get to the bottom of things.
yeah.
And this is why a lot of people don't like me. This is why I don't have a lot of friends because I'm always trying to get to the root. Like I don't care about what you're saying. I don't care about what any of that. I want to know the root of it. And the root of all this stuff is history. So that's when I really started to look back in history, looking back in things that already happened. And that channel of looking back in history, that channel of looking back at things was Jordan Peterson. I learned so much from that dude about a whole lot of things that I won't go into. I'm just gonna bore the hell out of you guys. But this guy is really knowledgeable and he knows a lot. I started reading a lot more. I the same things I sponged off of Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm sponging off of Jordan Peterson. Like I'm getting more religious. I'm learning more about history. I'm learning more about I'm actually learning about psychology now. I'm learning about a whole lot of things. And I think that he's doing something really, really, really great. And a whole lot of people, like just like Candace Owens, like a whole lot of people hate him. Like a whole lot of people hate Gary
Yeah.
Vaynerchuk. They hate these people,
Yeah.
and I don't want to say they hate them because that would contradict what I said earlier. They don't get. And what's funny is that all three of these individuals, they have one motive. They have one motif: self accountability. Do it yourself. Responsibility. Look at the things that are fucked up in you and fix those things. And that's what people don't want to do. So
Yeah.
I gravitate towards the underdogs, towards the people that everyone hates, because I feel as if I'm one of those people.
Definitely, definitely.
I know I will be hated. Like people are gonna like if you guys hate me now, like you guys have no idea. Like you guys are gonna
You can.
despise me when you see my face on the internet, whatever app we're on in 10 years. You guys are gonna despise my being. Like seriously.
So this is a two-part question. If you don't remember the second part, I'll remind you. Number one, so you know how they have like blackout days for social media? Don't use social media for 24 hours if you're standing for something.
Yeah.
Do you think those are effective? And what are the pros and cons of them?
It all depends on what we're trying to accomplish. Are you referring to what we did in June?
Yes.
Um, See a lot. What?
Yeah, I saw that
Esoteric vampire. Okay. Your name is quite a quite an oxymoron because there's not really that much to know about vampires. But anyway, so you can't be that esoteric. Well, what I'm going to say is it all depends on what we're doing. So, in that instance, she's determined to instill hate today. But it just matters what we were doing in that instance. Like a lot of people were overanalyzing that. You're like, oh, well, you're gonna force all the Black history out. All we're gonna see is a bunch of black squares. Like people were really overanalyzing it. What I was looking at it as is us just militarizing ourselves, us getting in unity and all doing something and getting attention. That's what I looked at it as. Um, how effective those things are. I mean, now you're what you're doing right now is you're making me go back into like a whole different mindset than I was because in June, like I said, I go through transformations. Like I'm like I don't know what the fuck I am. I'm a weird human being. Like I'll be this
Mhm.
way in 2019, and then 2020 I'll shit on the 2019 version of myself. And I'm pretty sure next year I'll be like, oh my God, I was so stupid. Like what? Like I was so
Yeah.
dumb. Like why did anyone want to hear what I had to say? Like I'm always shitting on the last version of myself. So right now I'm kind of shitting on 2020 Khendriix right now in the same year. Yeah, I don't, and those things aren't effective. You have to learn yourself. You have to know history. You have to know what's actually going on. And all those people were acting on a thesis that they had that they didn't know. It's kind of like
Mm.
if I tell you right now, hey, do you know Asian people are really mind readers, and that's why they're excelling so good in academics. That's why they're doing so good in school. They don't really have to study. They don't really do anything. They're just reading minds, and they know all the answers. And let's say I got 100 people to believe that.
Mhm.
Now I have 100 people having a total wrong viewpoint of Asian people, and then now they're showing animosity towards Asian people. Now we're adjusting rules so Asian people have to take higher tests within the same ecosystem as other people, and
Mhm.
we're acting on something that's not true. And I think what we were doing back then is we attached ourselves to a narrative like that. What I just said, we believed in an Asian privilege or this privilege or something like that. We were acting on something that wasn't true. And so to ask me how effective that is, if we're doing something and the basis of it isn't even truth, how effective it is kind of irrelevant because the whole thing doesn't make
Mm.
any sense.
Mm. Do you think fun is a weak word?
I think fun is a weak word. It all depends on what you're doing as fun. Like for me, fun for me is, thinking of new business ideas or creating like a new type of content. Or a lot of folks where I'm from got tear gas and sprayed. Some were minors being insulted by don't. Yeah, I'm not with that at all, esoteric vampire. I'm not with that stuff at all. That's why I switched. But it all
I really
depends on
like
what you're doing by fun, and what you categorize fun as. And some people smoke weed for fun. Some people,
mm,
they hook up with girls for fun. I like to
mm,
start new things and think and strategize and look at new artists coming up for fun. Like we all have our different definitions of fun. I don't
mm.
think it's a weak word. I think deviating from your purpose to for short term, I guess, fulfillment or short term, I guess what's the word I'm looking for? Short term embellishment or not embellishment, short term indulging. I think that is weak. But I mean, we're all human. We all need breaks sometimes. And it's about balancing the fun with your purpose. I know a lot of people, like I'm seeing so many people like post up in hammocks and drinking out of coconuts and shit. And I can just see right through it. It's like people always say, oh, I need to get away, or I need to get away. It's like
Yeah.
what are you getting away from? Like
Mm.
if you like to life, if you like
Oh,
what you're
wow.
doing, why would you need to get away? Like when you want to stay here and keep doing what you're doing? So the fact that people are so pressed for getaways is because they want to get away from reality. They want to get away from what they're doing day to day. And I think if we can get to a point where the getaway is our actual life, we wouldn't want to get away from that. Like the whole entire point is, to try to find to do something that you love doing. And I've never been on vacation ever in my whole entire life. I don't think. 'Cause I don't want to get away from what I'm doing. Why do I want to get away from what I'm doing? Because I love what I'm doing. I want to do it more.
Mm.
So it's, one man's opinion. Everyone's struggling. Got canceled. So I'm here.
I like message me, esoteric vampire. I'm
Yeah,
very curious about you.
we need more of the esoteric vampire community's opinions. We need
Yeah.
to hear of the other
Okay, so
vampires.
what is Clubhouse, and should we get on that social media app?
Yeah, if you guys looked at my story last week, I wasn't shredding Clubhouse, and trust me, I'm not the type to bash social media because I hate when people do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I am the type that will, call out reprehensible behavior when I see it. And I think I was just sharing my opinion, and I was doing my best to kind of change this shift because that was the whole point of me getting on. Clubhouse is an app. Basically, you get in rooms and you talk to people, and that's never really occurred. Social media has never really had a platform where it was strictly audio and it was strictly people, random strangers, all talking. I think the closest app that emulates that is Twitter, and I get
Yeah.
and that's why those two apps are like side by side because they both share the common thing. All a bunch of strangers talking. That's what Twitter and Clubhouse is, and a matter of should we get on it. You know, do your thing. Hop on it if you want to. I think it's a great way to network. I think it's a great way to grow your brand and to grow your audience. But I will call out this type of behavior and this type of underpinning behind the app. And what I was seeing a whole lot of last week is kind of like a high school thing going on,
I was gonna say it sounds
which
very
I
high
didn't like.
schoolish.
Yeah, and here's the thing, and this what makes talking about this type of stuff so difficult because it's not necessarily the app fault or the developer's faults.
No.
It's how the people use it and how the people interpret it. And what I started to point out, I'm always trying to see how Spoon is the same have been around for a while. I don't even know what Spoon is. I
I've
have to
never
set
even
that
heard
up.
of school before.
KB's on it, man. She's always on it. But
She is.
I started to see this type of, oh, we're cool, we're having this conversation and you're not. Aha. Like I started to see this type of energy and it was weird coming from adults. And I started to see like, and trust me, I'm always looking at people and their actions. And a lot of these same people, there are a lot of people that tweet, and I hate it. It's like the most appalling thing ever to start. You're on Twitter, right? Yeah, I follow you. That's a stupid question. I'm sorry. My mind's
No, no
everywhere.
worries.
And those same people that have that type of energy, like, we're so cool, we're having this conversation, y'all get in. Oh wait, you can't get in because you need an invite. It's like this type of energy, and these are the same people that tweet stuff like, oh, y'all, sorry to use this term, but oh, bitches be like I hate when people start off sentences like that. Like there's nothing sophisticated, there's nothing intelligent about to come out your mouth when you start a sentence like, oh, y'all bitches be like. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing smart you're about to say. Just wrap up the tweet, dude. Like don't even post that
Wrap
shit.
up this.
And those are the same people that tweet stuff like that, or they repost stuff there's a bunch of ignorant stuff, man. There's a whole bunch of appalling stuff that's like really childish. And I started to see this this life form of like just these big high school like popular kid type of like crowd, and
Yeah.
that thrives off of alienating people, and that thrives off of having something that other people don't. And I looked in the comments, like I'm weird. Like I really looked into this stuff. I seen some people were posting their, because you can, with this app you can post you can post a link for people to join a room. And when this started to happen, I seen people post the links and they're like, oh y'all need to join this room. And I seen this guy I follow from Philly, and I was really quite disappointed with him when he did this. He posted this link to his because he could came out with a book. Like I'm really following this guy's content. He posted this link to that, hey, everyone join the chat. And his community were saying, hey, we're not on Clubhouse. Like, can you help us on? And he was replying to them, how? Oh, how I get you on? How? And I'm like, dude, like your community is asking you how to get in, and you're just like, how?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you can't, like, you have to, like, why are you not trying to, like, it's almost as if they posted that link for people that just already had it, and for people that already were there, and you could care less about anyone else. And I started to see people were commenting, like, oh, can you send me a link? No response. People were saying, oh, can you get me on? No response. And when I started to see this stuff, maybe I'm overanalyzing it too much, and I think that's what it is.
No, you're not.
I think that's what. Okay, cool. I was really analyzing this stuff. I'm like, these people are the same people in high school that thrived off of sitting at a table that no one else could sit at, and when an outsider sat down, they all probably got up and moved, or
Left.
they switched the conversation, or they all stopped talking to create some type of awkward some type of awkwardness. These same people thrive off of alienating other people. And I started to see these nuances, and I was like, and at first I was like, fuck that app. I don't want anything to do with that. But I'm on it now, and I posted on my story because I'm really trying to change this. I'm really trying to change the narrative. I posted on Twitter. I was like, hey, and no one does this. I can verify this. No one has done this. I posted as soon as I got on. I said, hey everyone, I'm on Clubhouse. I have 5 invites. If you want to invite, DM me. Nobody said that. No one. I couldn't find that anywhere because people don't, because they probably want to use those invites for their friends, or they just want to get their people on. I said, hey, I got 5 invites, and people were commenting last night. I got on like 5 strangers last night, and I screenshotted those things. And when they commented, hey, can you send me one? I liked it, and I said, yeah, I'll get you on. I got you. When I told someone to DM me, they DM me, said, hey, can you get me on Clubhouse? I said, sure. And it wasn't slow. I didn't fucking try to charge them. I didn't try to, spin the bit on. I wasn't like, and a girl got on. I wasn't like, hey, what you got for me? Like, it wasn't no weird shit. I just sent them the link, and I screenshotted those things, and I put them on my story, and I said, hey, I have 2 left. I have 1 left, or I have 4 left. And I'm trying to show people that this is what building a community is about. It's not about excluding people. It's about getting as many people in. And I'm trying to show people, I'm like, hey, I just helped these people. I'm trying to shift the narrative there with that app, because because it's something that I really don't want it to, because I want that app to thrive. I really think that app has a lot of potential to be a competitive app. But it's like, if we just continue to just make this like some like weird like ghetto thing, and like this start people like moaning on there for money or something, I'm like, this behavior is not, yeah, it's weird. Like this, like I don't want to turn into something like that. And I know that I can't, it's good. The market's gonna do whatever it wants with it. But if I can just, if I can just get 1 or 2 people, because hey, I helped those 5 people, random people. I helped them, maybe, and I doubt it, but maybe I inspired in those 5 people to want to do the same thing. Like, who knows? But you know what? I just had you just have to try that. Tribal mentality. Yeah.
The tribal mentality.
Very tribal.
$600. Why does that logically make sense to distribute $600 to people?
Oh man, that's a great question. A lot of people are mad about this. Yeah. So let's dive into it. It's funny the way you ask that question, and I think that's kind of half of the problem. We kind of form questions in the ways that even if you answer them, it just comes out wrong. I think that's the wrong question. People have to really look into like I'm writing a book starting January 1st. It's called Well-Rounded Fool. I've been planning this book forever, ever since I seen that dude standing out of 7-Eleven. I'm writing a book that's called Well-Rounded Fool. The subtitle is How to Break the Paradox of Intelligent Stupidity. And I'm not calling you stupid or anything, but
No,
there's a
I
wave
think.
going. There's a wave going. There's a wave going on. Listen, actually, there's a wave going on right now with people that they don't read. They talk and they say things and they don't know. And I've seen this since like 2017, and it always bugs me. I hate it because if you're a really good listener, I think you're a really good listener. If you're a good listener, you can hear the difference between someone that knows what they're talking about and versus someone that's literally pulling things out their ass as they speak. And those two things are so easily distinguishable. And I can't stand the person on the right that's like just talking out their ass and they're just being ideological and they're just making up things. And these are the people that are spreading misinformation. They're influencing other people. And I know these two things are inevitable. They're always going to be the fool that's just going to talk out the side of their neck. But I think, books are that's a great way to influence a society, writing a good book, because if that thing's good, who knows what can happen. So I'm writing this book, Well-Rounded Fool, and it's going to be about how important it is to know what you're talking about. This book is going to be about learning things before you form a distorted or a low resolution opinion about things. It's going to be about the difference between ideological thinking and actually grounding your opinions and grounding your thesis in facts and in history and actually knowing what happened, like reading something, learning about it, internalizing it, and synthesizing it in a way where you're applying your values to it and you're applying your actual ethics to it, and then you're presenting to the world a well-grounded, a solid example of how you actually think about something. That is what I'm going to try to attempt to attack in this book. I'm going to talk about the social justice warriors. I'm going to talk about the people that are just spreading lies. I'm going to try to I'm going to try to bring up people in history, and it's going to be about a lot of things. And it's crazy how I thought about this all the way back, like in people are commenting who pull shit out of their ass. I hate the search engine. Yeah, man. And it's people's proclivity to want to not read is what bothers me the most. And what's crazy is in 2017, and I was gonna write this book in 2018, by the way, and that just the thought of that is just laughable, because I was no way incapable of writing a fucking book in 2018. Like, no one was gonna read that. And I waited because I knew. It's weird because as confident as I was throughout these years, I knew that I'm not, like, if I write a book, no one's gonna fucking read that. Like, it's just gonna be a bunch of opinions. It's gonna be a bunch of uneducated opinions, and I'm gonna contradict myself with this book, saying, "Hey, you should know what you're talking about before you talk." But I just wrote a whole entire book about the same exact thing, so I didn't want that to happen. And then now I think, and for anyone in here that's like, "This guy's stupid," maybe I'm not smart enough, but I think now I'm at a good point to where I can write a text, and people are in a grown man that's like 48 that has 2 daughters, and works and does things. He's gonna want to pick this book up and read it. Like, I'm really trying to get to that point, not like a memoir from my friends or people that know me, or just to read my my thought. I want like a 39-year-old woman that has that teaches at a school. Like, I want her to read this shit. And in order for that to happen, it has to be hard. Like, it has to fucking hit. It has to have facts. It has to have the little indents, and it has to have like the fucking what is it, like the MLA shit. Like, it has to be fucking It has to be good. It has to have some shit in it. And I think I'm at a good point now. So I honestly don't remember your question, but this book is this book is
$600.
yeah. So back to the $600, and trust me, all this had to do with it. So
Yes.
$600. This is what people are not understanding. It's part of something bigger. We have to understand that this country, and it's trust me, I'm no way like an economist. I looked into the facts and I'm presenting the facts to you. That's what I'm doing. So it's a part of something bigger. If you look at like the Heroes Act, you look at the CARES Act, the last thing that we did, and if you look specifically at the economic relief section of it, it was $300 billion, and that $300 billion only went to people that had the adjusted house income of like less than $100,000. But it excluded immigrants, it excluded college kids, it excluded dependents, and guess what? Everyone was so hot and mad about that. Oh, we're not getting it. Oh, what about all the college kids? What about all this? What about all that? And everyone was so furious about that. That last bill, yes, it was bigger. It was grossly bigger, $300 billion. But at the same exact time, it excluded a lot of people from getting that economic relief. And that played out. And people were, were wondering, oh, where's the next one? Where's the next one? So hey, here comes the next one. I don't think this one has a name. I've yet to see this name. This new one, the last one was $2.2 trillion. This one is $908 trillion, so it's slightly less. But the economic relief package for this one is $286 billion, so just $14 billion less than the last one. But with this act, this one includes the immigrants. This act includes the college kids. It includes the dependents. It includes the immigrants. That's why it's less, because it includes everyone. That's why it's less, because it includes everyone. And people are still angry.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand it. Like, I was trying.
Gave you what you wanted.
Like, all night last night, I'm like, I was trying to say this. Like, I'm trying to get you guys. I was even posting a screenshot. I'm like, yo, it's including everyone. That's why it's less. And people are, oh my God, we're screwed. Israel got 500 million. Fucking Baghdad got 600 trillion. China got this. China got that. We got $600. Like, I'm like, this is why I'm writing this damn book, because you grown adults are stupid and you don't fucking read anything. The entire economic package was $286 billion, not $600. Doesn't make any sense. You're saying that the government gave Americans $600. That's impossible to distribute $600 amongst 303 million Americans. That's impossible. So I don't know why they're saying that. They know damn well that's not true. It was $286 billion, the economic relief. And guess what? Small businesses got $302 billion. Small businesses, they got $302 billion in PPP loans. And I think the first one was 500 million, but this one's less. But guess what? This one includes what's what I'm looking for? The parameters within who gets what is more. It got more widened for who can get it. That's why the total gross went down, because it includes more people. Like, they listened to what everyone said the last one, and they took all those edits and took all those objections into consideration, and they got more people. They typically put more money in people's hands, if you think about it. But yet everyone was pissed that, oh, it's only this and it's only that. You need to run for office.
You do, honestly. I'm like thinking that my whole head the whole time. I'll vote for you.
I appreciate that, but I want you to really think about something that this is going to be a really good point. This is how easy it is to sway people. I don't know the second clue of what I'm talking about. This is how easy it is, because I just did the bare minimum, but yet I'm coming off with like a potential candidate, which is fucking laughable to me. That's how easy it is to sway people. But the whole entire thing is with this one, it includes more people. All you have to do is read it. Listen, you literally type in 900. I don't know if there was a name for this one. I didn't see one. I think it's just called the coronavirus relief thing. And everyone's and like, oh my gosh, I follow a lot of politicians, and that's probably not a good idea for your mental health. And they were saying, oh, America gave $500 million to Israel. No. They did not give $500 million to Israel. America is constantly trying to like bash Israel. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I think we're allies, I'm not too sure why they're always trying to bash Israel. Maybe it's like a Semitic thing. I don't know what the hell it is. But the $500 million went to the Israel. It went to their, what's it called, something relief package. It went to a program. It went to an Israeli program that helps us with defense. That help, and I think $50 million went to missiles and stuff. It went to like protection. And it's funny how people say, "Oh, they don't give a fuck about Americans." They spent $500 million on fucking missiles. I think they care about us. I'm just taking a wild guess. If they would spend $500 million on fucking missiles, but yet they don't care about us, like we have to have a country first, before we get money. Like we have to actually have a fucking country. Like people don't understand about those things. And the government, and it's really, really lucrative, and it's really, really complicated. And I don't understand it at all. And neither does anyone else that's making these huge critiques about it. It's like, really? You think you think you're gonna do better? Like let's put you as Senate of fucking New York. Let's make you a lobbyist. Let's see what you can do. Are you capable? Are you capable of fixing an economy that just went down the fucking shithole? Are you capable of doing this? Any of this? Do you know what you're talking about? Do you know how much money Israel should get? You haven't the slightest clue how this stuff works. And I think that we have to really learn. We have to really educate ourselves and learn how it works before we just, sit back and critique it. We don't know how any of this shit works. It's stupid. It's so dumb to sit back and just be like, "Oh, the government sucks." Like, no, you fucking suck because you don't know how to read.
Yeah. I really, really like you. Okay. Where can we like you, stalk you, follow you, all that fun stuff?
I don't know about stalking, but you guys can follow me on Instagram, Khendriix, Khendriix. Politics have a lot of restrictions and not much power on license. Yeah, man, we have no idea how it works. We really have a lot. We have a lot of studying to do.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I think it's from Jordan Peterson, but I heard something recently, not recently, like years ago, but they said you don't know what's best for you, and that's why the people who are in charge, that's why they're in that position. But okay, last question, then I have to go clock into work. I want your advice. I want to make a video, but I'm very, very scared to do it.
Make it. Don't even ask me. Just make it.
No. But what if I don't know.
Just make it.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna do it.
Go do it.
I'm gonna do it. Fine. Okay. And if I get canceled, I blame you.
Who cares? They can't cancel you, actually. They can't cancel you.
Why?
I don't think there's much to cancel.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, like, how are they gonna cancel you? Like, neither one of us started. Like, I always have those questions like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get bashed for saying this. It's like we matter, but we don't. Like, no one gives a fuck about us. No one gives a fuck about our opinion.
Yeah.
Just fucking say it. I'm thinking about it too hard. When I said there's not much to cancel, I mean, if you say something that pisses people off, it's not going to be detrimental to your entire success. That's what I'm saying. It's not like you have 5 million followers and if you say something like, then you might be in trouble. But the pros to being like micro influencers that we can say whatever the fuck we want. So just go make that video. Don't think about it. I was in that position a lot with what you're doing right now, and I can tell you that the video never turned out the way I wanted it to, because I could ask myself that question. So I'm telling you, just make it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so
much
for
having me on. I appreciate this. No,
I appreciate you. This is the highlight of my 2020.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. A conversation with me? Wow, that's crazy.
All right. You have a great day, okay?
You too. I'll talk to you later. Day at work.
Yes, I'll try.
See you, vampire.
Bye. I'm going to follow you, vampire.
Don't get any sunlight.